It's a late autumnal day in November 2023, and although we're nearly in winter, the garden still looks gorgeous to me, and I'm fully in planning mode for next year. In this video, I'll share some planning tips with you, and I'll also share with you the bargain that I bought that's in this box. Welcome to another video from Tropiclaud. So planning a tropical garden is about so much more than the plants. It's about making your garden an immersive experience. And when I plan, I think of my senses. What do I want to see? What do I want to hear? What do I want to touch? And what do I want to smell? Now, I'm not going to focus too much on touch and smell in this video because I link those to my plants. When it comes to touch, I think about leaf texture. When it comes to smell, I think more so about flowers and foliage. But this year in the garden, I've really focused on what I want to see and what I want to hear around me. I'll share a few tips with you, and I'll also share some plans that I've got for next year. Okay, starting with what we want to see. Lush foliage is obviously a given, but I'm not focusing on the plants in this one. The next thing I want to talk about is lighting. So in my garden, I have lighting everywhere. Up lighting, rope lighting, solar bamboo lighting, fence lights, lanterns, solar bulbs and torches. I basically treat my garden like it's another room in the house. Lighting really makes a room feel cosy, and that's exactly what I've tried to do outside. These solar up lights are so effective underneath palm trees, and I'll put a link in the description box to the ones that I use. Another thing to consider when thinking about what you want to see is the materials that you use around the garden. Now, bamboo is a natural choice when it comes to tropical garden decor. As you can see here, I placed some over my fence. I mentioned this in my garden transformation video, and the older it gets, the better it looks. I also try to incorporate some rattan in the garden. I've got some rattan stools. I use a lot of wooden planters. And these stools I've left outside for the majority of the year, and as you can see, they've started to weather also, but they just add to the effect. They only cost me about £5 on Facebook Marketplace. So touching briefly again on the types of planters that I use, I really do love a seagrass planter, and I've used a couple of them around the garden. I also like to plant things in baskets. I particularly like putting my spring bulbs in those, and as you can see, I've also got some colourful planters, and if I can't find planters in the colours that I like, I'll simply spray paint them. Much cheaper that way anyway. Equally, if you really want your tropical foliage to pop, I highly recommend using black planters. They're so sleek and alluring, and they slip into the background while the plants sing. On to garden ornaments then, and in my garden, if you've seen my previous videos, you'll have seen that I do love a coconut planter. I've got a few of these, and they're a perfect place to plant the smaller tender plants. There I have a monstera in one. I've also got a Phacrea longeva in another. Wooden signage also looks great in a tropical garden. Big thanks to my niece who had this gorgeous one made for me. I also love spheres, and I'd like to incorporate more of those into the garden next year. They fit the tropical scheme so well, and I may just fit in one of these gorgeous pink flamingo statues. I do love them, if only I can get a hubby to love them too. So on to what I want to hear in the garden then. I do love to hear tall plants in the wind. I've got to say, it's a gorgeous sound when those grasses are swaying left to right. In addition to that, I love a bit of running water. There's hardly anything as relaxing as that sound in the garden. And that brings me on to my latest bargain. Here is the newest addition to Tropiclaud's garden. I've only gone and found a bamboo shaped water feature, haven't I? I absolutely love this. I'm not going to set it up just yet, but you can see how perfectly that will fit into the theme. I'll save that bad boy till spring. Now, as a keen musician, I couldn't resist having some wood chimes in the garden. It just adds to that feeling of being someplace else. Well, I hope this video has inspired you to use your senses to create a really immersive experience. It will work for you no matter what style of gardening you prefer. See you on the next one.